I've known Merlis for years and years and years from church. There was a period of time when we were at different churches, so I didn't see her very much, and I ran into her at a concert with a mutual friend, and she was like, met my kids. My daughter is 11 and has Down syndrome, and my son is 8 and has ADHD. And she said, I have a product that might help your daughter. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, whatever, you know. Sounds great, Merlis. She's like, oh, you should really try it. It's doing some great stuff for people. And I thought, and she's like, I have a friend who has a son with autism, you know. And I thought, okay, well, you know, okay, I'll come listen. What, you know, it doesn't hurt. So I came and listened to Lisa's story about her son with autism. And I just went, dang, you know, it's worth $60 a month to see if it will do something for my daughter. And so I decided I would just try it with Michaela. And one of the key things with Down syndrome is that they have very short working memory, they call it, which is actually short-term memory. It's once they get information into their long-term memory, they have incredible memories. But it's making that transition from your working memory into your long-term memory that's really hard. And there's all kinds, you know, there's the developmental delays and all of that kind of thing. Down syndrome kids are just really fun kids. They are also the most stubborn children you will ever meet. And that's what helps them survive and succeed, because they are so persistent. So it's great training for parents. Oh my gosh. But, so anyways, I started Michaela on it, and I didn't think much of it in terms of, you know, we were just taking it because they said do it for 90 days, and we went off on vacation. And Michaela is not potty trained. She's 11 and not potty trained. And we've been working for years, believe me, on this. And when we were on vacation in Mexico, she just got way more independent about going to the bathroom, and she did really well. Now, she didn't like become instantly potty trained, but she did really well. And I was really encouraged, and I just thought, wow, you know, this is really awesome. I don't know what this is about, but I didn't put two and two together, really. And so we went on, and a few weeks later, my husband said to me, you know, Michaela's talking in much longer sentences. And like Mike said, you know, as parents, you're with them every day. So the changes, you don't always notice what other people notice. And I was like, you're right. She is talking in much longer sentences. You know, she typically would talk in 2 or 3 word sentences and repeat herself or leave out, you know, words in the middle. And because we lived with that all the time, we understand what she's saying, but other people might not necessarily be able to track with her, right? So I was like, okay, I'm going to notice that. And then my nanny, who lives with us, said, you know, she sings on the way home from school every day. She sings with Southern Gospel. She knows everybody in Southern Gospel. And she sings with CD on the way home. And Sheila was like, I can understand her words now when she sings. I knew what the song was, but I didn't used to be able to understand her words, and now I can really understand what she's singing. And I was like, oh. So I started to realize this is making a difference. Taking the EHD is making a difference for my daughter. She's made incremental changes, but changes that she hasn't been able to make in the first 10 years of her life. She's made some significant changes. Her comprehension has improved. Her reading has improved. Her math is still way behind, which is a challenge for Daddy because he owns all the mathnasiums, a bunch of mathnasiums. But she's learning. She's making progress. She's making slow progress, but she's making progress. And that's really exciting for me. I put my son on EHT because I thought, well, okay, Michaela, it's helping Michaela. Maybe it'll help Isaac because, you know, it's all about the brain. ADHD is all about the brain. With Isaac, it's much more difficult to see, you know, to say, oh, it's making this big change in his life. But I can say that as to date, I haven't had to put him on any medication yet. We've been able to manage his schooling and his situation, and he's been able to, with AHT and extra doses of omega-3, we've been able to make it in school. He's extremely bright, which is typical of many kids with ADHD, but he just can't, control his mouth or sit down long enough to, and so it's just a challenge for other people generally. But I think that it does help him in that we haven't had to medicate him, and I really appreciate that. I really don't want to have to medicate my son because he is so bright and he's so creative. But the other part of my story really affects other people's stories, and because my daughter, of course, has special needs, and so she goes to special needs classes, and so we have the Door 3 moms, and when I first started Michaela, I invited all my Door 3 moms to come to one of these meetings, and a number of them signed up. And so Carissa has a hard time coming because she's a professional singer and is really super busy, but her son has galactosemia, and she's always like, tell them about Everett. So Everett takes EHT, has made, we can't claim the progress he's made is from EHT, but since he's been taking EHT, this is what has happened in his life. I can say it that way. Since he's been taking EHT and not anything else different, he has galactosemia, which means the galactose in his body doesn't get processed and it attacks the brain. But he has gone up 30 IQ points. He's been able to begin to speak in sentences rather than in 2 words pieces. His short-term memory has increased dramatically. He's begun to sing. He never sang before. And there's been a number of really significant things for her that she's super excited about. And then another friend of mine has a son with autism. Actually, my nanny's brother, he's 20-something. He started taking EHT after his mom took it for a few months just to make sure nothing strange was going to happen. Good protective mom. So Sam has been taking it for a number of months, and Sam's anxiety has gone way down. And instead of freaking out in stressful situations as much, he's able to be verbal be able to talk and express himself. And that's been really helpful to them, obviously, in different situations. So that's been really great. Another friend of mine has a daughter with a very rare prognosis. I don't even know what it is, but she's nonverbal, and she signs. She's very bright. She's very cute, but she's beginning to be able to talk, to make consonants, and these are, really significant changes. And they didn't see much change because she's not verbal. It's really hard sometimes because your kid can't really communicate with you to really know what's happening. But they decided to stick with it, even though they weren't really sure it was making any change. But she just said, tell them that she can say moo with an M. So she's super thrilled. And these seems like little things to most people, but when you have a child with special needs, that's huge.
How old is the little girl?
So she, I think, is 7. I think she's 7 years old. So those things, that's my why. That's my why. Why I joined as a brand partner, because I want, there's so many people who have, everybody with a healthy brain should take it, right? To help. But there's so many people who are starting further back than the rest of us that it can make a significant difference. And, if your child can now go to college, or can now, balance a checkbook, or can now just talk to you because they're taking something, that's really, really an exciting thing. So that's my why. I've had a chance to try some of the other products. We'll do more in the future as I am able, but what I've tried I really like. So, but my why is 8.
Thank you.